The year is 1944. War rages far beyond the mountains. But here in Yellowstone, a different battle is unfolding. Families cling to their land, secrets whisper through the cold winds. And power is measured by courage, cunning, and loyalty. Every choice can change a life. Every decision can tear a family apart. This is more than survival, it's the fight for honor, bloodlines, and the land they call home. The first light of dawn cuts through the mist, painting the Yellowstone Valley in shades of gold and gray. Snow still clings to the edges of the mountains, a stubborn reminder that winter has not fully released its grip. The vast plains stretch endlessly, dotted with the dark shapes of cattle grazing quietly, unaware of the storms both literal and metaphorical that loom over there. Keepers. In this land, every hill, every river bend, every solitary tree carries the weight of history. Generations have walked these grounds, building, fighting, and protecting what they call their own. There is a rhythm to the land, a heartbeat that matches the families who inhabit it, and yet it is fragile. It does not forgive carelessness, nor does it forget injustice. To survive here is to understand that loyalty is tested not just by external enemies, but by the shadows that linger in one's own home. The air carries a mixture of cold pine and smoke from last night's fire drifting across the ranches and into the valley below. There is a stillness now, deceptive in its calm, for it is a quiet that often comes before upheaval. In the barns, the scent of hay is mingled with the faint metallic tang of preparation. Horses paw at the ground, restless, sensing the tension that humans try to mask with routine chores. The ranch hands move carefully, their boots crunching softly on frost-covered earth, eyes always alert, scanning for signs of trouble. A letter from the front lies on the wooden table of one home, its edges frayed, words half hidden but carrying news that will ripple through the lives of those who read it. It is not just war overseas that threatens them, but change that comes quietly, like a shadow stretching over familiar land. Families gather round worn wooden tables, the smell of fresh bread mingling with strong coffee, sharing quiet conversations that hide deeper fears. The men speak of cattle and crops, but their eyes betray thoughts of honor, of debts owed, of alliances that may not hold. The women carry the weight of both patience and resilience, their hands busy with work, while their minds calculate every possible outcome, every potential danger. Children run along the frozen creek, their laughter fragile against the heavy silence of a world grown uncertain, even in play. There is an awareness that the stories they are told tonight may shape the decisions they will face tomorrow. In every glance, every gesture, there is a history, a silent understanding that the land is both protector and judge, providing sustenance but demanding sacrifice in equal measure. Beyond the immediate safety of home, the valley stretches toward distant forests where shadows shift and move with intentions unseen. Wolves, silent and watchful, navigate paths humans dare not tread, reminding all who live here that survival is never guaranteed. The wind carries whispers of old rivalries, tales of past betrayals that linger like ghosts among the living. Families who once lived in peace now find themselves caught in a web spun by ambition, fear, and necessity. One misstep, one lapse in judgment, could awaken dormant grudges or create new ones that fester under the surface, waiting for the right moment to erupt. Every gate closed, every fence repaired, every path trodden carries significance, as though the land itself judges the worth of those who walk it. The Yellowstone of 1944 is not simply a place, it is a test. Each sunrise brings with it decisions that cannot be undone, and each sunset leaves questions unanswered. The mountains stand as silent witnesses to the lives unfolding below, their peaks etched with memory and legend. Time seems slower here, but in reality, it is a crucible, shaping men and women, testing endurance and character. Generations have come before, leaving their mark in scars on the land and in stories passed down through whispered conversations. And now, a new chapter begins, one where courage will be measured not just in strength, but in the ability to see beyond the immediate, to anticipate the storms of human ambition, and to protect what cannot be replaced: the land, the family, and the legacy of those who came before. The calm of the valley does not last. Shadows stretch across the frozen earth as the sun climbs higher. But even daylight cannot chase away the unease that grips the land. Men ride along the ridges. There, eyes sharp, scanning the horizon for signs of movement, for figures that do not belong. A lone rider appears in the distance, death trailing behind, carrying news that stirs whispers before the messenger even arrives. The air carries a tension heavier than snow-laden branches. Every sound, the snap of a twig, the low whinny of a horse, the distant howl of a coyote seems amplified, warning that the balance of power in the valley may shift with the smallest provocation. In homes and barns alike, hands pause mid-task. Ears straining, hearts tightening against the invisible weight of looming danger. Rumors travel faster than the winds that whip across the plains. Stories of stolen cattle, broken promises, and rival families asserting their claims circulate quietly at first, whispered in corners, over cups of strong coffee. In hushed conversations that carry more weight than any official announcement. Trust is a scarce commodity, carefully rationed, because betrayal here comes in familiar forms. A neighbor who smiles too easily may hide intentions sharp as the winter frost. Alliances forged in shared hardship are fragile, and the slightest spark can ignite a fire of resentment and revenge. Every glance holds suspicion. Every conversation is measured. Because the consequences of misjudgment echo far beyond a single day. It is not just survival that hangs in the balance, but honor, pride, and the legacy of generations etched into the soil beneath their boots. The tension is mirrored in the land itself. A sudden blizzard sweeps down from the mountains, blanketing fields and pastures in white, turning familiar paths into treacherous mazes. Horses panic in their stalls, cattle huddle for warmth, and humans move cautiously, aware that nature and human scheming are equally unforgiving. The storm seems almost purposeful, as though the valley conspires to test those who claim dominion over it. In the flickering candlelight of cabins and ranch houses, families huddle, listening to the winds howl as if it carries warnings meant only for them. Even the simplest chores, mending fences, feeding livestock, securing barns, become acts of defiance against forces both visible and invisible. Every action is a message: strength, vigilance, resilience, and the unwillingness to yield. Amid this unease, small conflicts begin to surface. A dispute over grazing rights escalates into heated arguments that threaten to divide long-standing friendships. Letters from faraway battlefields arrive, carrying news that reshapes priorities and tests loyalties. Some read with hope, others with dread. Some hide them, knowing the words they contain could ignite tensions or unravel delicate alliances. Faces once familiar become masks of caution and calculation. Every handshake, every nod, every casual smile is weighed against unseen motives. There is a sense that the valley itself is watching, recording each transgression and each act of courage, storing them like the hidden roots of the ancient trees that line the riverbanks. Those who underestimate this quiet scrutiny do so at their own peril. As the day progresses, the first signs of direct conflict appear. Cattle are found missing from fenced pastures, fences slashed under the cover of night, and distant shouts echo across valleys, announcing disputes that cannot be ignored. Riders chase shadows along frozen trails, their horses straining against the cold, the wind, and the urgency in their hearts. It is a time when instincts are sharpened, when decisions must be made instantly, and when hesitation can mean more than failure. It can mean ruin. The valley, in all its beauty and vastness, becomes a stage for a struggle that is both intimate and immense. Every tree, rock, and river bend plays witness to acts of bravery, cunning, and at times cruel calculation. The land is patient, yet relentless. It remembers every slight and rewards those who act with foresight, courage, and unbreakable resolve. By evening, the valley is quiet again, but it is a quiet that carries foreboding rather than peace. Families gather near hearths, contemplating the day's events, aware that tomorrow may demand even more. the cold settles deeper into bones and into hearts, a reminder that this land, this legacy, is not given freely. It must be earned, protected, and defended, often at great personal cost. The shadows of the valley are no longer just shapes cast by fading sunlight. They are a presence, a force, a warning that the battles for Yellowstone are only beginning. And in that quiet, beneath the snow and mist, a silent vow forms among those who call this land home. Whatever comes, they will fight to keep what is theirs. And no shadow seen or unseen will take it without a struggle that echoes across generations. As night settles over the valley, the cold grows sharper, cutting through even the thickest coats. Smoke curls lazily from chimneys, carrying the scent of burning wood into the frosty air. But warmth inside the cabins cannot chase away the unease lingering in every corner. Families gather around tables, their faces lit by flickering candlelight. But the conversation is measured, cautious, eyes dark to corners, ears strained for. Within the households, tension simmers, old grievances, long buried, surface with quiet insistence, whispered in tone or hinted in gestures. One brother glares at another across the table, memories of past slights flashing in his eyes. A mother notices a subtle hesitation in a son's hand as he reaches for his drink, sensing a hesitation that speaks of unspoken choices. Every glance, every pause, every soft word carries weight. For one misstep could unravel alliances carefully nurtured for years. The land may be generous in its bounty, but people, family, friends, neighbors carry ambitions, fears, and grudges that run as deep and unpredictable as the rivers carving the valley below. Loyalty is tested here not just by the enemy outside, but by those closest to you. And sometimes, the truest danger comes from where you least expect it. Outside, shadows move under the moonlight. Figures traverse the frozen plains with silent purpose, carrying messages, threats, or secrets that could tip the delicate balance of power. Horses' hooves crunch over frost-hardened earth, and the faint sound of a distant whip or a low call cuts through the night. These clandestine movements are a reminder that the valley is never truly at rest. It is a place of constant vigilance, where even the familiar can become perilous. Neighbors who once shared laughs over fences now measure each word, each smile. For hidden meaning, trust is rare, precious, and easily shattered. A misplaced word, a careless act, or a hidden agenda can ignite conflicts that will echo across generations, leaving scars as deep and permanent as the canyons carved into the mountainsides. Inside the cabins, quiet schemes take shape. Plans are whispered, letters are folded with care, and eyes meet in understanding or suspicion. The older generation watches, knowing that every decision their children make will ripple through the land and the family name. Choices made under pressure here are rarely simple, and consequences rarely fade with the setting sun. Sometimes, a seemingly small action, closing a gate, keeping a secret, siding with one ally over another, can trigger chains of events that no one could foresee. The valley teaches harsh lessons in patience, cunning, and endurance, demanding that every move is deliberate, every word considered. Even love, care, and friendship are measured against the harsh realities of survival, reputation, and the legacy each person carries. Tensions reach a breaking point in subtle ways. A missing cow, a late reply, a whispered rumor sparks suspicion. A young man's anger flares at a slight he cannot forget, and an older woman tightens her grip on family traditions, fearing that change might unravel everything her family has built. Every night, the valley listens, absorbing the patterns of human behavior, the betrayals, the quiet courage, the hidden alliances. It stores them like the snow that covers the ground, waiting for the moment when these frozen truths melt under the pressure of circumstance. And beneath it all, an unspoken understanding exists. In Yellowstone, survival is never guaranteed. Families may fight together or fall apart. Friends may become foes, and secrets that seem small today can become weapons tomorrow. By dawn, the valley is silent again, but the undercurrents remain. Eyes are sharper, hands steadier, and hearts heavier with the knowledge that the night has changed things forever. The snow reflects a pale light, glinting off the scars left by both nature and human ambition, and somewhere hidden from view. The first seeds of conflict that will shape the season are taking root, quietly, inexorably, like frost creeping across a frozen field. In Yellowstone 1944, there is no room for mistakes, and every choice carries the weight of blood, legacy, and survival. Morning comes with a biting wind that sweeps across the valley, rattling the wooden shutters and stirring the first signs of chaos. The quiet that settled over the land during the night is broken by distant shouts and the sharp sound of hooves against frost-hardened earth. What once seemed like routine life now feels fragile, as if every step on the frozen ground could trigger events that cannot be undone. Riders appear on the ridges, their silhouettes dark against the pale light, carrying news, warnings, and sometimes threats. Faces once familiar now look different in the harsh light of dawn, graver, sharper, weighed down by decisions made in secret, choices that may change the future of the valley forever. The Yellowstone of 1944 is no longer just a home, it is a battlefield where every moment carries the risk of betrayal, and every glance could signal a challenge to authority and survival. Conflicts, once subtle and whispered, now take form in undeniable actions. A fence is found torn, livestock scattered, evidence of trespass that cannot be ignored. Men mount horses with urgency, riding across snowy plains toward trouble spots, their eyes scanning for the perpetrators, their hearts set on justice, or perhaps revenge. Families respond to these provocations in ways that reveal character and resolve. Some act with restraint, weighing long-term consequences against immediate anger, while others move with instinct and force, letting emotion drive decisions. The valley watches silently, observing how the powerful and the cunning navigate these first signs of open conflict. Here, strength is measured not just in the ability to fight, but in the foresight to act decisively, knowing that hesitation or misjudgment could carry consequences far beyond a single day. Within homes and cabins, the tension mirrors that outside. Conversations are clipped, measured, full of implication. The younger generation debates responses, testing boundaries, discovering the limits of their own courage, while the elders counsel patience, caution, and adherence to traditions honed over decades. Alliances shift like snow drifting in the wind. Those who were once allies reconsider loyalties, old wounds reopen, and long-suppressed grudges rise to the surface. Every gesture, every decision is scrutinized because here in Yellowstone, one wrong move can shatter both reputation and livelihood. The land may seem indifferent, but humans are anything but passive. Each person's choice, each confrontation, ripples outward, reshaping the social and familial landscape in ways that are unpredictable and profound. The first direct confrontations occur in the shadow of familiar landmarks, barns, fences, and river crossings that have witnessed decades of life and labor. Voices rise, sharp and urgent, as accusations are exchanged and threats take shape. A horse rears, startled by the commotion, adding chaos to an already tense scene. Families confront one another not only over property and livestock, but over honored pride and perceived betrayals. The valley, silent yet watchful, absorbs each act, each glance, each sharp word, storing them in memory like snow layered upon itself. The stakes are clear. Whoever fails to act decisively risks more than property. They risk family unity, reputation, and survival in a world where mercy is rare and consequences are relentless. By midday, the tension reaches a boiling point. Riders return with news that escalates the stakes. A rival family has claimed territory. A prized animal is gone, or a secret has been revealed. Every decision now carries weight that could shift the balance of power in the valley. Hearts beat faster, hands tighten around reins and tools, and minds race to anticipate what might come next. The landscape itself seems alive, reflecting the turbulence of human emotions, from the stark white snow that mirrors cold resolve to the dark shadows of the canyons that suggest hidden threats. Every element, the wind, the frost, the animals, interacts with human ambition and fear, creating a tension that is palpable, immediate, and relentless as evening approaches. The valley settles into a tense calm, but the air is thick with the promise of consequences. Families gather, silent and wary, knowing that the day's confrontations will echo into the nights to come. Trust is fragile, loyalty is tested. And the smallest misstep could ignite a chain reaction that reshapes the entire landscape of power and survival. In Yellowstone 1944, action and consequence are inseparable. Decisions made in moments of anger or urgency carry weight, leaving scars on both people and land. The day ends not in peace, but in preparation, as every inhabitant, young and old, realizes that the battles for control, for survival, and for legacy are only beginning. The valley watches, waits, and remembers, silently judging who will endure and who will fall. Night falls over the valley with a silence that feels heavier than the day ever did. The wind carries whispers through the trees and across the snow-covered plains, as if the land itself is speaking of what has passed and what is yet to come. Fires flicker in cabins, their light casting long, trembling shadows that stretch across walls and floors, hinting at the tension lingering in every corner. Families sit together, not speaking, each lost in thought, knowing that the events of the day have altered the balance of power in ways that cannot be undone. Every glance exchanged carries layers of meaning. Every unspoken word is a strategy in itself. The valley is alive with anticipation, as though it waits for the next move, the next confrontation, the next act of courage or betrayal that will define its future. The day's conflicts leave marks that cannot be ignored. Fences remain broken, gates swing loosely in the icy wind, and livestock huddle together, sensing unease even without understanding it. Inside, hearts beat with apprehension. The younger generation struggles to reconcile loyalty to family with the harsh reality that not everyone can be trusted. They watch the older members, learning from the subtle gestures, the careful calculations,